Hey guys, here's a new video for for people who are coming to Canada again for the first time, or someone who's intending to come to Canada. I'm sure this videos will help you a lot. If you have any questions that you in terms of expenses, in terms of anything else, just write a brief comment down below, and I should be able to get back to you within 1 or 2 days. Or you can just email me on at Sam Iyer, Iyer at yahoo.com. So let's get back to the topic. Today's topic that I'm going to talk about is I have notes, so I just want to make sure that I don't extend over my time. And today's video is going to be about 10 biggest expenses of living in Toronto, Canada. So the first biggest expense that I found when I was here and when I started was car insurance. So as soon as I got my car, because fortunately or unfortunately, the first job that I got within 2 weeks of arriving in Canada was with Rogers, and it was a sales job. And one of the prerequisites of having a job was to get a car. And the car that I got and the insurance that I was with, the first time when I started paying insurance, it was $500 per month, $500+ per month. So it was crazy. So car insurance is definitely one of the major expenses you got to keep an eye out for. So that's you have to shop around. Like, I'm currently with Desjardins Insurance, and now my insurance after so many years, it's about $360 per month. But that's a discount because I chose to go ahead with an application that they want you to have it on whenever you're driving the car. So that way I got about 20-25% discount. Then I promoted myself in driving from G2, and now I am on G license, and that kind of helped a little bit as well. I also got a certificate from a driving school, and that kind of helped as well. So overall, it took a couple of years before my insurance went down, but it's still too much. $360 per month. It's a major cut from your paycheck. So you got to make sure that you're prepared for that kind of expense with your car. Bigger the car, bigger the insurance. Second is cell phone plans, internet. For whatever reason, the expenses, the internet plans and the calling plans here for the postpaid is exorbitant. It's very expensive. You got to make sure you shop around first, or at least you don't enter into a contract right away, because there's always cheaper plan that comes around. So if you have here in Canada, there's something called a lot of telecom companies, they come with bring your own mobile plans, BYOM or BYOB. So when you have your own phone, you can kind of negotiate and get into a better plan. But unless you are someone who hops around with new iPhone to new iPhone, and you get into one contract to another contract, Canada is pretty expensive, and it can tie you up with expensive plans and contracts. You got to make sure that you negotiate or you shop around before you get into any of those contracts. And if you do get into those contracts, try to pay it off before, so that you save some money on your and get a better plan, cheaper plan. Third major expense by far is housing expense, especially if you live in Toronto, or if you intend to live in Toronto or Vancouver. Condominium renting is expensive as hell. You have to pay condo fees. There is separate parking fees, and regardless of those, just the rent itself could be $1,200 to $1,500 for 1 to 2 bedroom. New condominiums, they're not as big, so you have to pay a lot. If you're looking for a basement, again, your budget is going to be around $1,200 to $1,700 per month, and you may be paying extra for your parking depending on your area. Definitely you have to make sure that you get a decent parking, because in winters, if you own a car, you want to park in a proper place. It's going to be snow everywhere. You don't want to be in a situation where you're on a road shoving out the snow out of your car on the road, and kind of stopping the traffic or anything. So that's another thing. The fourth more expensive thing that I found, again, it's related to the major asset that I own. It's car maintenance. So every few months and weeks, you have to obviously spend a lot of money. The car maintenance is kind of expensive. You have to shell out anywhere between $250 to $300 for upkeeping of cars. You have to change your tires in winters and summers. Of course, there are people who would say it's okay, it doesn't really matter. But for me, it matters. And also the fact that insurance companies would, would want you to have winter tires in winters and summer tires in summers. Like basically, you need that. I mean, not summer tires in summers, but if you keep winter tires on in summers, your tires are going to wear out more quickly as opposed to if they were in winters. So you need, you know, those kind of expenses. You need two separate set of tires. You need to be able to replace them. If you're able to replace them by yourself, that's great. Otherwise, you're spending $80 essentially just to change tires, plus tax. Then you are also there's oil changes, because of two extreme seasons, like not two, but winter is definitely extreme. So you got to make sure that you have all the equipments in the car. So there are other kind of expenses that you have to carry around in your basically trunk. And yeah, so car maintenance is one of those expenses. The fifth major expense is dental procedures. So if you're coming from a country, or if you're coming from a region where the dental procedures were not as expensive, or you've never thought about it, Canada is definitely something that's very dental expensive. Dental procedures are expensive. Of course, if you are with an employer who covers or who gives you an option to cover your dental expenses, that's great. But if you're on a contract, or if you come here and if you work and just to get by, you work in Tim Hortons or something like that, you got to make sure that you either have done completed your dental procedures back home, or you come here and get a dental insurance or something like that, private dental insurance, so that it covers you for dental procedures if required. Now, this is a major expense. I know I was with an employer who covered dental expenses, but I did not take a dental portion of it. I never thought big about it, but then I ended up paying about $2,000 for dental, and it was just out of the blue. And the good thing is I was saved, but I could have easily put that money out into making a down payment to my owning a house, or I could have just paid my car installments. So this is something that was unexpected, but it's a major expense you got to be aware of. So that's numbers 5. Next, going to number 6. If you have eye problems or anything like that, again, ophthalmology procedures, getting your spectacles and so on and so forth is expensive. Again, the same as I said before in dental. If your employer pays for it, it is more or less covered. If not, then getting glasses again, or checking your eye vision test, it's kind of expensive. It's not as cheap as some of the other places in the world that you may have been to. It's definitely anywhere between $200 to $250. I got two of my glasses. Yeah, they're branded glasses, but again, I paid for like $700 for those two glasses. So you got to be aware of it. And again, we tend to forget about the cost. When people tell you the cost, it's exclusive of HST, which is 13%, and then they add HST, and you'd be like, what? And then you all of a sudden you're out of budget. And so you got to make sure you got to keep an eye out for these expenses as well. The next is transportation costs. Now, before I even talk about transportation costs, let me first begin. The transportation in Canada, in Toronto, is amazing. The public transport, the facilities that they provide, it is absolutely amazing. But one of the things that you have to take care of is that it is still $150 plus. It's $3.25 if you on a Presto card, which you have to tap every time you get in on the bus, or if you're on a go bus, you have to tap in when you get in and then tap out when you get out. So it will count the measure. So that is one of the major expenses. If you live anywhere in Toronto, you travel within Toronto, you don't have to take a go bus. You can just take TTC, Toronto Transit Commission bus, and you pay $3.25 for one side. You don't have to tap multiple times, but regardless, going back and forth would cost you to your job or wherever you are traveling to would cost you the minimum $6.50 per day. Now, you multiply that with 20 odd days or 30 days, you're spending about $180 to $200 in bus. Now, the thing is, if you're using this and making money out of it, that's okay, because you're essentially traveling to your work and coming back. But let's say, for example, if you're going for shopping or you're just going to meet your relatives, then this cost, and it could be just 1 kilometer and still you end up paying $3.25. And it could be 2 kilometers and you still pay $3.25. It could be 18 kilometers and you still pay $3.25. So it kind of depends how far you're going, and that's how you can derive your cost per kilometer. So the closer you travel with TTC, the more expensive it is. The farther away you have to go, the more cheaper per kilometer cost is. So you have, this is, I mean, it's kind of debatable, like, is it too expensive or not? But like, the way I look at it is that if you're traveling any place nearby, it's too expensive. And if you're traveling any far, like downtown Toronto or something from Scarborough, or, so in those cases, it's really cheap mode of transportation. The next most expensive on my list, the number 8, is eating out. Like, eating out, again, is debatable. You can say, oh, you know what, there are restaurants who would serve you for $5, $10, $15 for lunch. But if you want to go out in a decent restaurant, you're not no way spending anything less than $85 for a family of 3 at the minimum. That's when you're kind of thinking about, oh, should I get a dessert? You know what, I'll just skip the dessert. And if you think about all that, and you end up paying $85 plus the tip plus the taxes, it's definitely expensive, at least by my standards. So you want to make sure that you learn to cook if you don't already know how to cook before you come here, because if you're a student, if you're an immigrant, new immigrant, you don't want to spend $100 every now and then, every 3 or 4 times a week, just because you don't know how to cook. So one of the major lessons when you come here, learn to cook, or at least learn to watch the videos and on YouTube, and just make something out of it. Don't spend money on eating outside. And the next major expense, the 9th one, is any kind of services, like including repairing your house or car services. If anything breaks down, it's a major expense. Obviously, it's great for the economy in the sense, like, everyone has a right to make money, but it is expensive unless you have contacts, you have friends, you have more network, bigger network, and then you can find a person who would do a great job at a cheaper cost. It is one of the major expenses. So you have to be aware of. You have to be more careful. Like, one of the things on my laptop, Dell laptop, something that broke on the left side, which stopped my charging my laptop. I paid $80 for repairs, and essentially it's not working again. So basically, like, it's working sometimes and it's not. So basically, it's a huge money. It's a huge cost. So you got to take care of your equipments. You got to take care of your cars so that they don't break down. You got to take care of your houses for high winds. If you live in a house, you could have a significant amount of damage in your house in high wind situations, in snow, and so on and so forth. So you have to be able to repair by yourself. You have to learn few tricks, and you have to be able to do it yourself kind of attitude, and that's going to save a lot of tons of money over the years for you in Canada. And okay, this is another major expense which I kind of figured out later on. The daycare cost or babysitter cost. So if you're a family of 3, and if you intend a couple wants to work, then obviously you have to take care of your kids. You need someone to take care of your kids. The minimum wage works for everyone. So you're gonna pay, unless you're getting $19, $20, $25 an hour, there's no way that you're spending 14 an hour for someone to babysit your kid, because two reasons. First thing, you're not making a huge difference in terms of going out in doing a job, but at the same time you're letting your kid to be with someone else, so it's kind of not economical. It's not financially wise decision. At the same time, it's not also it is also not family wise, it's not a great decision as well. So you got to make sure that unless you're yourself a childcare provider or babysitter, that's a great news for you. It's a great economy for you guys here. But at the same time, you have to figure out a way. You have to have a family member coming up with you, or you need to network with people around you. There's always a place where you can negotiate, where you can find people who can help you save cost, but you got to network. Don't just come here unprepared. Be prepared for this. Do some Google research. Look for cheaper baby daycares. Look for daycares those have availability, because there is a long list of availability in the daycare, so you got to take care of that as well. So yeah, so these are my top 10 major expenses, although there could be one or two here and there. But I think for me personally, I think these were the major expenses that affects to a new immigrant, because you are basically unprepared. You're coming from a country where you did not have to think about a lot of this stuff. So these are definitely the things that I would want you to consider when you're coming here. Of course, there's a way around. There are so many helpful people. Again, you make tons of money later part of your year, so of your career, so you can always pay for these expenses. So it's not that bad, but at the same time, it's great to come here prepared. So once again, if you have any questions, just feel free to come here on my channel. If you like the video, just drop a like. That will motivate me to make more videos like this. And if you have any questions, if you have suggestions, just go ahead and do it. And if you're already in Canada, Toronto, and if you have to add something new, please go ahead and do that. And that's how we learn. That's how we help out each other. So adios, and happy long weekend. Take care.